Hi. We all know that a lot of parents have issue managing their own money. In fact, 1 in 6 Canadians say their monthly spending exceed their incomes. Even worse, 1 in 4 say they borrow for food or daily expenses. Imagine when it's time for parents to teach their own kids. I always say that money doesn't buy happiness, but it certainly helps, of course. As a parent, I've discovered that it can be awkward to teach kids about money. I have been a parent for 13 years of 2 young boys, and I'm struggling to teach my children the value of money. It's even difficult to keep their attention. We certainly need a way to teach them good money habit. I find that educational system isn't helping parents to teach their kids about money. What can help me? What can really help parents? The Watermelon team did a bit of research and will be presenting those findings that guides us to build an attractive AI chatbot, especially for kids. Our team members are composed of Julie Wright, Alex Mulcahy, Jonathan Prevost, and Sukriti Bopare.
We found that young adults today are at far more risk of financial distress compared to previous generations because of the complexity of the financial marketplace as well as reliance on credit. Even though studies suggest that kids aged 7 and above start developing cognitive abilities, logical reasoning, as well as critical thinking, parents do not engage kids in learning about day to day financial matters until after they are at college. Academic research suggests that a good mechanism to teach them about financial education should provide basic knowledge as well as financial pragmatism. It should also encourage open discussions among parents and children, which will provide them with greater financial confidence. We know that children today engage with technology on day-to-day basis, whether it's for learning or for fun and entertainment. Leveraging technology to teach them about financial education would be a great idea. We also looked at competing products in the market that offer such features. We found that there are a lot of products that offer most of these features, but none so specifically aimed at children and offering what we are. Our proposed solution, Watermelon, is an AI chatbot that combines technology and financial knowledge to empower kids to take their financial education in their own hands. It provides them the necessary skills as well as it allows them to keep a track of their progress. Most of all, it engages parents and children in an open discussion about money. Now, Alex will take us through the chatbot and its workings.
So when we talk about children, who are we talking about, right? That's a very broad term. And really what we're talking about is children aged 8 to 12. And what we wanted is not only create a chatbot that's educational, but also what was fun, that is fun. So we want to look into their interests. And where do we start with that? Right away, we start with technology. And not only technology, but we immediately fell upon video games. And when we looked at video games, we found there were two very popular video games in the US amongst preteens. And what they were was Minecraft and Fortnite. Fortnite being the second most popular, but Minecraft being number one. And what we found that 21% of Minecraft's users were under the age of 15. So we knew they loved technology. We knew they loved playing video games, but we also figured out they're inquisitive about learning. And what that means is that games like Minecraft aren't your typical shooting or racing games. They're very creative and they're very hard to get involved in. You have to learn the techniques, you have to learn how to build, and then you have to use your creative mind to build what you want. So it's a challenging game. What that led us to was really this architecture, which we thought would address those problems best. And what it starts with is the user being the child, but our client being the parent. The parent has to give the right for their children to use this. We need their consent. So what we start is with the client and the account being created by that parent, and then the children using it through a login. And when they log in, the first thing they're subjected to is a Chatterbot library. And that Chatterbot library is currently trained on 17 different topics with a specific increased focus on the fintech and finance literature. So from there, they're put into a database and their user profile is starting to set up. We set up a diagnostic to gauge who this child is and what their knowledge of financial literacy is. And with that knowledge, we can place them down one of our 3 learning paths. And those paths are really tailored for the knowledge of the child. And from in the chatbot log, finally, we can store all sorts of information like their balance, their account information, and things that are needed to create the tools they'll need to further advance themselves past just the education. Now, Julie will take you more through these features.
Hi, yes. So we'll have a diagnostic which will ask questions of the child in order to pinpoint their level, whether they're explorer, learner, or advanced, in order to, just so they won't get bored or get overwhelmed with too much information. And once they have the level diagnosed, there'll be a gamification, which will be a choose your own adventure game full of hidden teachings about money. And the questions in each path will be designed to create a personalized learning experience for each child. And we use games because they create more engagement and also create more fun and learning for kids. We'll also generate reports on a frequent basis that will give parents access to information about the child's activities, as well as tell them when the last time is their child logged into the app. In terms of goal setting, this will allow the child to say, hey, do I want a bicycle? Do I want an Xbox? What am I saving for? And goal setting will really allow them to change their behavior and allow them to think about what their behavior is going to be in terms of that goal. And then budgeting will be integrated with other apps that already do budgeting, and it will track their spending and income from the chatbot and go into that other apps. And reminders will be sent out on a frequent basis to tell the kids to come back to the learning environment, because that will help them stay on track with learning. Rewards will be there in terms of allowance, extra allowance on the part of the parents, or skins in games like Fortcraft and Minecraft, which will allow the kids to feel really cool and boost their self-esteem. Ease of use is about having choose and click on the screen multiple choice options instead of having just typing in text, although that will also be an option with our chatbot, typing in text questions. And as you can see on the right, we have a mock-up of what the game will look like. And you can see some of the multiple choice options that could be available to them. So lastly, risks and mitigation. So privacy and data security could be a big issue, but we intend to use bank level security and encryption in order to prevent the kinds of security and data breaches that could be very bad for us. There's a lack of clear regulatory provisions on AI, but we would do our utmost to ensure child privacy and safety on our app. There is a threat of competitors beating us to market, but we would do our very best to reach out to other people who are doing similar work like Waylo and Treasure in order to add chatbot functionality onto their app instead of starting from scratch. While increased screen use among kids is a problem, we would mitigate this by engaging parent support in order to educate their kids off screen as well as on screen, so that kids are not just engaging with the AI. And we want to give a big thank you to all the people who contributed to this project. And thank you so much. And what's next is we'd really like to continue working on this project and take it to the next step. So go Team Watermelon.
As you can see, we have built a functional chatbot that can either answer from the input of the kid or pick from the list with this easy to click button at the bottom of the screen. So basically, the chatbot answers basic questions and choose the best answer according to the libraries it has been trained on. You can also see that the chatbot is leading the conversation by asking multiple choice questions. It is then easier for the kid to follow instead of trying to find a good question to ask. But that's just a beginning.